They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It is Seatin here, hello and welcome to the 61 Physician Healing Guide. Now, this is what I classify as the best sort of all-round physician healing spec at the moment. It is absolutely insanely overpowered for PvP, very good and sufficient for dungeons or 5-mans, very good for sort of tank healing in 10-man and 20-man raids, which a lot of people don't seem to understand the power of Physician. A lot of people have kind of chunked it to the side thinking it was still in the state that it was on the PTS, but now on live it's much more powerful than kind of most tank healers in my opinion. I would regard a Physician as kind of a sustainable purifier, so like a purifier that's using cooldowns but a bit more sustainable, because purifier is very good, but what makes purifier so good is the fact that it has these really strong cooldowns like, you know, Flame of Life and Rite of the Forge, but Physician can basically constantly almost spam really large shields thanks to expectant treatment and also preemptive therapy, so that makes it very awesome. Adding to the fact that it has huge single target healing capabilities, like it can burst heal so fucking much, so it really kind of makes it the tank healer of choice for myself. I mean, it's so fucking debatable, like people could argue endlessly which one's better, but I've had some really good experiences using Physician on certain fights such as Inya Qatar. I mean, literally, I healed for the first time in a raid on Physician, did Inya Qatar, and we one-shot her, which is regarded as one of the hardest boss to tank heal in the game, so I think I did a pretty fucking good job there. So, the, sorry, just to clarify, the spec is 61 Physician, 10 Rift Stalker. This is for the increased attack power and survivability that it grants, and also 5 Nightblade, and this is for the increased attack power and weapon damage, because basically all the Physician heals scale off attack power, so just sort of as a bit of a pro gearing tip as well, attack power is the stat that you want to mainly aim for. Crit power is not so good in Physician because there aren't many like increased critical hit chances, so mainly attack power and dexterity, 2 stats that you want to stack up on like fuck. Now, for macros, a lot of people have suggested me macros for this spec, and every macro I look at is, I look at it and it's just like, that's a bit inferior. There are going to be certain circumstances where, you know, you're going to lose out on a cooldown or waste your heal by doing that. So in all honesty guys, my personal opinion is, unless you want like at mouse over macros, don't bother using any macros for the Physician, because I have yet to find any ones that I like or can get along with. So my way of playing Physician is without any macros at all, because I genuinely think if you aren't going to use any macros, you're pretty much going to, you know, gimp yourself that little bit, and that's what we don't like to encourage too much on the Seatin Man of Legends guides. So we're gonna explain a bit about the healing rotation. Now, it's quite hard to give you a definitive rotation, so I'm gonna tell you about what tools you have and what they do and when to use. Now, we're going to start off by talking about building abilities. Now, you essentially have 3 different healing abilities that build combo points. You have Active Treatment, which is an insta-cast, fairly small heal that awards 1 combo point. You have Expectant Treatment, which is an insta-cast Absorb that awards 1 combo point, and it's pretty nice in my gear, which is kind of like a tier 1 gear-ish. It's sort of a 7.5k shield, so I imagine in the later gear, the shield could go up to about 10k, and in raid environments maybe about 12k, so that's very nice for an instacast shield. And then you have Causal Treatment, which in all honesty is the kind of main spam builder that you want to use if you can sort of completely stand still, because this awards you 2 combo points over 1.5 seconds, and the heal from it is pretty fucking huge. So generally speaking, you know, if you can stand still and if you can afford to do that, you just want to be sort of alternating Causal Treatment and Expectant Treatment to build up your combo points. Now, for the finishers, what you have is kind of 4 different types of finisher. So the first one that you have is Maintenance Therapy. Now, this is an insta-cast heal that restores a large amount of health and also grants a small heal over time over the next 6 seconds. So that's kind of like, it's kind of like your standard finisher to use If you want to top somebody up for single target. Then you have massive therapy, which I'll just get up the combo points for now. Now this is your really big finisher. This is kind of like for the old shit moments. It has a 30-second cooldown, but it just heals for a fuck ton. So if I use it, look, it heals instantly for about 32k without any cooldowns up. So that's pretty good and pretty fucking overpowered. So we do love that. But the main kind of finisher that you want to be using is called Preemptive Treatment. Now this basically absorbs damage per combo point and lasts up to 15 seconds, sorry. So basically this is kind of like your shielding finisher, and is generally the best thing to use like on tanks if you're mainly in a raid environment and tank healing, because it is always better to try and prevent damage than top it up, and also the shield is a fair bit bigger than the heal from maintenance therapy. Actually, I believe that they're about the same, but generally speaking shielding is better because there are always a variety of different sources to top people up via healing, but there aren't that many options in regards to shielding. And the final finisher that you have is known as Group Therapy. Now this restores health per combo point to up to 10 party or raid members. So this, in all honesty, is a pretty damn overpowered raid heal. And you'll see it kind of, in my gear, it ticks for like around 2k per tick in a raid environment, 2 to 2.5k. So it makes, it makes it very, very easy to heal dungeons and also solo heal raids like Triumph of the Dragon Queen and all that stuff. Now, one other thing I want to mention before going on to like non-combo point heals is the fact that you have this ability called Alternative Treatment. You can toggle it on. Basically, it reduces your energy regen, but causes your combo point generating heals and absorbs to affect up to 5 party or raid members, but be 50% less effective. So this is really, really awesome for abilities like both Expectant Treatment and Causal Treatment, because they will provide like an AoE heal or shield to the raid. So that is another tool that you can use for healing 5-mans or possibly 10-mans. So, you know, that's very cool. You want to make, you know, make sure that ability is on your bars, because there are going to be certain circumstances where you are going to need to whip it out and use it. So it's very, very helpful in that regard. Now, on to kind of the kind of emergency heals, I guess. So you have this ability called Urgent Care, which restores kind of about 11k health in my gear. It has a 6-second cooldown, doesn't grant any combo points, but doesn't consume any either. So that is a really kind of good, just, you know, insta heal if you do need to swing on somebody. And also talent pointed, this heals up 2 additional people for the amount. So not only does it heal 1 person for 11k, it will heal 2 other people for that as well. So that in that regard is pretty damn OP for sort of topping up people who may be lagging behind in certain encounters, or, you know, Physician's quite good for healing 2 tanks, because that heal does, you know, affect 3 people. So if you got 2 tanks, then it'll top them both up, or give them nice, quite a nice heal each. So that is pretty damn awesome. The other 2 you have are Biofeedback, which restores an insane amount of health over 5 seconds, and also reduces the damage taken by that target by 15%. And while you're channeling this, guess what? You can move around, and that's pretty damn fun. I think pretty much every Physician ability you can move and cast, apart from Preemptive Therapy and also Causal Treatment. Those are the 2 that you kind of need to, well, you have to stay still to cast, but they're definitely worth it. So there is kind of like a an advantage to standing still in this spec, that you can use like the 2 of the strongest abilities. And the other kind of heals that I want to talk about is you have Emergency Response, so that restores health equal to 100% of the rogue's maximum health, and puts a shield on the target absorbing a certain amount of damage. So this is kind of like one of your emergency heals that you can just proc, you know, if the tank's about to die, it'll give them a very big heal and also put a shield on them. That doesn't really absorb that much, but you know, it's alright, and plus that ability's off GCD, so that is even more awesome. The other cool thing that you have is something called Life Insurance. So this buffs a single ally with an absorption shield that absorbs an absolute shit ton of damage. It's about 15k in my gear, and it lasts 10 seconds. If the target receives a killing blow at all within that time, it restores 50% of their maximum health. So not only is that a massive absorption shield, it also gives them a cheat death for the next 10 seconds, so that is very, very cool. So maybe if somebody's standing in AoE and they're about to die, or they've got a debuff that if they don't run into like a cleansing light within a few seconds, they'll get one shot. You can put this on them, and guess what? They won't die. They'll instantly be healed to full health when they're about to take one of those killing blows. So that is very, very awesome. Now, there are a couple of other things I want to quickly cover. I'll cover the buffs quickly. So, in physician, you have, the buffs are fairly straightforward, alright? You have preemptive medicine, preventative medicine even, which is basically like just something you put on yourself and it gives you a shield occasionally when you hit. There's not too much excitement for that. You have simultaneous treatment, which buffs the raid, causing 30% of overhealing received from the physician's single target abilities to be transferred into an absorption shield that caps at 5% of the target's max hit points. So basically you can put this on the target and any overhealing will be sort of directed to that target and turned into a shield. So that is very, very cool. So that should usually be used on the tanks, but because I mainly use like this spec for PvP, I just usually have it on myself. Now, another cool thing is a buff called supportive care, which should be placed on the tank, or a target that takes a lot of damage, and this basically causes your single target heals to cause the target to gain a 50% absorption shield that absorbs up to about 2,500 damage in my gear. So that is pretty damn powerful, and considering this will proc off pretty much every ability you use, so this shield is constantly being refreshed, which in PvP, this is really, really fucking overpowered. Not so much when it comes to like hard-hitting raid bosses. I mean, it's a slight buffer on the damage reduction, but when it comes to PvP, this is so good. It's ridiculously overpowered at the moment. Plus, if it gets purged, you can just refresh it for pretty much no burden to yourself at all. I mean, it's off global cooldown, so it's very easy to reassign to like another member at all. So the other kind of things I want to cover is that you can also heal via dealing damage. Personally, I wouldn't suggest it because it's pretty fucking pointless. You basically need to toggle on something called Pandemic, and then you can use like all your various damaging abilities in the physician tree, and that will heal people. But as you can see, the damage is just so weak, and it gimps your energy regeneration a ton. It's not worth it at all. It's just, I personally and highly suggest do not bother with that. It will just be a waste of energy and stuff, and it's completely pointless. Now, the other couple of cool tidbits you have is you have this this thing called Intensive Care, which causes all healing and absorption abilities that are builders or finishers to be increased by 50% for 10 seconds. So this is very good for periods of high damage, like you can get up some really, really big shields or very, very big, massive therapies from this. Have a look at this. Hopefully we can get up a fairly large crit there. Look at that, just a 47k heal without even trying, so that is very, very good. The other kind of tools you have in your arsenal are Adrenaline Shot, which should be used if you find yourself going on energy. Energy Starvation is a lot better since the PTS, so in PvE you won't find you get energy starved too much, unless you're using sort of alternative treatment and AoE healing, but in PvP you want to keep this on a separate bar. Do not bother macroing it, because if you macro it, you'll waste it so much. Just keep it on a separate bar, and yeah, pop it whenever you're sort of below about 30 energy to get the most use out of it. And the other kind of you know, awesome cooldown, it has a 20-second cooldown, off global cooldown. It instantly awards the rogue 5 combo points, so you know, this is kind of like an emergency heal. If you want, you can get Precise Diagnosis up and then instantly cast a 5 combo point ability, so that is very, very awesome. Apart from that, guys, you have, you know, the standard AoE Dispel, single target Dispel. You have a debuff called Viral Infection that you can place on sort of targets, which causes any of your finishers to basically deal damage to them. In most scenarios, you might as well just chuck this up on a target, because just means you'll deal a little bit of damage. It lasts 10 minutes, so it's not like something you have to refresh constantly. So in regards to damaging abilities, even though it deals like pretty much fuck all, it's kind of worth keeping up just for that little bit of extra DPS on fights or scenarios where you may need to min-max a bit. Apart from that, from the other trees, from Nightblade, you do have Conceal, which is a stealth ability, which can be fairly useful for, you know, sneaking around in PvP and being all stealthy. And you can use Ebon Terror to sort of ambush people, which which is pretty cool. And then in Riftstalker, you have Planebound Resilience, Endurance buff. Guardian Face is not worth using because of the healing reduction it provides, but Shadow Shift acts as a really nice teleport in both PvP and PvE as a quick way to move out of AoE and dodge stuff, so that's pretty damn cool. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Physician Guide. If you do have any questions about the spec, macros, how to play, please do let me know in the comments below, and I will try my best to clear up any misconceptions you may have. Thank you ladies and gentlemen once again for watching the video. I have been Seatin. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves, guys. Love you all. Bye.